Hello everyone and welcome back. So today I'm painting crocuses because they're very delicate flowers. I am starting painting them as I talk, and maybe I will not have time to talk all the time. I might have to just stop and paint quickly, and I will explain later what I was doing. But I have very beautiful crocuses from the garden, and as I talk they kind of getting wilting a little, so I'll try to do what I can in this case and hopefully it will work out. So I have 2 purple and 2 yellow ones, so I'm cleaning my brush. So I kind of pre-drafted the first one and I'm going to do the second one, and then I'll explain the colors I was using. So for now I'm just kind of trying to squint and do what I can do. I'm using a warmer than I see a little bit here color. And this is a block in first. As always, I do block in first and then I start doing the rest of the painting with more precise strokes. This is just kind of giving the color. And some crocuses are a little bit paler and the others are a little bit more brighter, lighter. So I'm kind of trying to show that part. Then I have one almost like wilted going down here as well. So very delicate flowers, and I tried to find a very small glass for them as well. So just do a little bit of stems here. So it's mostly, and there are some white stems as well there that I'll do later. And my color of the glass is kind of grayish, bluish grayish. So I'm trying to find that color now and do that color as well. So just a basic gray color. I think that's it. So then I'll add a little bit of white where I see those crocuses, but for now this will work. The glass is the last thing I worry about in this particular painting. I just have to be very fast with the flowers. And I definitely see like very white stems inside here and some green stems. Like I said, I'll tell about all my colors after I do the actual painting. I don't think I will have time even to do background. I may just very roughly roughen it in, so it's a very standard background, kind of white grayish material I have here. So I'm going to use this if I pick a little bit of that, that's okay, not too much purple. So just doing it a little bit cool and light on this side. So make it a little bit thinner. Add a little bit of blue. And I'm not talking about colors right now, right? So I'm just said I had a little bit blue, but I'll go through every single one afterwards. First I need to do the actual blocking. So just try to roughen it what I can. It's a small piece of linen, so it's going to be very, very... The tabletop is a little bit cool, but at the same time it has some brown board in it, so it's cooler closer to the window and a little bit more like a old wood type color, closer away from the window. So I do my tabletop, it will work for now as well. I'm not trying to be very precise with my shape, and then I'll do a little bit of shadow, cast shadow from the glass, just a little. You can see lots of coolness in this glass and some coolness in the shadow as well, even though it's a warm shadow. Just trying to make a little bit rough surface for the table. Okay, and then there will be light in there. So I'll get my as a brush, and then maybe I'll talk more about colors. So I used this bristle brush just for quickly blocking in the colors, and now I will just go closer to my flowers, just have a little bit of look closer. So I may be putting on and off my microphone. So the first flower has more yellow in it, and the second flower has more green in it. So that's almost like with tangerines when I paint. So I'm trying to put the petal the way it is, the way I see it. So a little bit of tip of that petal, and then has worms inside, so I'm using cadmium yellow dip, and then I added a little bit of orange, a little bit of transparent oxide red for inside of the flower, and then I use cadmium yellow light for the lighter petals. And while I'm there, I'm going to do this edge a little. Actually, my glass is a little lighter here, so I used transparent red oxide and blue for the glass. So I'm going back to the flower and try to put this petal in. Again, it's a very more delicate work, so I have to be kind of precise with some of the stuff here, more precise than normally. And I'm still using cadmium yellow light, and even for a little bit of brighter petals I can add a little bit of white, but not too much, so not to kill the whole color, just a little here on edge, maybe a little here, because I put my still life so far away from me, so I have a chance to paint only what I see. I have to kind of go back there and see from time to time, so for that purpose I have to unclip my microphone. Hopefully it will work. So I'm using a rosemary brush for this particular flower and all of the flowers. So this is a soft rosemary brush. It's a small one. So now I need to go and look at that flower again. So there is lots of warmth behind that flower, so I'm mixing some orange, some cadmium yellow deep, and some brown, and just to see if I can go a little bit warmer here. Maybe it's a little bit too warm, so I'm just adding a little bit more of the yellow. So now I'm going back to the other flower, and this one has more green in it, so that mixture I made, I'm going to kind of go in here and in here. Again, I'm using cadmium yellow deep, cadmium yellow light, and depending where it is, some orange and some cadmium transparent oxide red. But now I'm going back to this yellow one, because in the light where the ridges of those petals I need to add some light. So there is one petal here and one here. Try not to overdo as well. So this one little petal here. There is a ridge of this petal here. And my shadow flower, I'm not going to bring too much color to it. I kind of leave it, it has some green in it, I'll just kind of leave it like this. Maybe do it a little bit paler at the bottom. And now I'll work with some leaves. Oh, the other thing I need to do, my purple ones, almost forgot about them. So for purple ones I used ultramarine and alizarin mixture and white, and depending where and how light it is, I add more white or less light. So this one has a ridge here. But I noticed that every time you add a little bit more white, you kind of lose the color, so you have to be very careful with those white additions, I noticed. So I have to work with my background around this one a little. And also I need to break it down with some greenery, with some leaves, and it will look better. So I had some leaves there, they're tiny, but they do the job still. So I had one leaf here, kind of coming out there. And for leaves I use mixtures, my standard mixture, depending of course how much you add green and how much you add brown. So it's a viridian and transparent oxide red, or viridian and transparent brown, depends little green here. So I will see if I can bring up, it means bring the value up a little bit higher for this crocus. I'm not sure if I need to do it. So there is one petal opened, and actually I like it better. It just opened while I painted, so that's good for me. Gives me a different kind of flower. Happened very fast while I was painting, so it's good in a way. Gives me variety in my painting. So this one is very light on top. So I think I got flowers right, so I'm going to double check some of this. In my actual still life, I need to come up closer to it and have a look, and then I'll work on the glass later. I mean in a minute or so. So just unclip my microphone again. Actually counted the petals of the ones that opened, so there are around 6 petals, and they're on different angles, but really it's up to you if you want to paint all the petals or just the ones that you see the best. So I have this one petal. There is a ridge of this one that I didn't get, so when I saw it closer, I can do the ridge of this one. And the rest of the petals depends, of course, like one little one here. And then at the same time, I don't want to lose all my shadows, so it depends how it looks as well. So if it looks nice already, so then maybe it's not worth going through every petal, but if you feel like you need to add more, you can add more. So my petal here has a little bit of green, and I think there is a reflex from the other one. So then I have this one still, little ridge here. Like this little one, just the edge of it. So I think I'm not going to overwork it. So there is one green one going this way. I'm using the ridge of my brush for greens. There are some greens in the glass, and then there are some whites in the glass, so I'm going back to this whites in the glass, because crocuses have this nice white, it's kind of not leaf but outer leaf, so it's combined with greens. So when I was pulling them, they all stayed on. And now I'll work a little bit on the glass. Not, I think my glass is a little bit longer. Try to make it a little bit longer here. Glass, like I already said, I used transparent red oxide and ultramarine. So there is some very light area in this glass on this side, and sometimes I add different yellows, so depending on the, so I might kind of make this one as well. I add either yellow or any like yellow ochre, or it could be, depending on the what I see in that glass, could be cadmium yellow light or any other. So I see that the bottom of my glass is quite heavy and thick for a small glass, so I'm mixing more ultramarine and more transparent red oxide, and I kind of paint this first and then see, and adding a little bit white to it. Adding a little bit blue actually works better. Add a little bit blue to that mixture, and then because it's cool light from the window, there is lots of coolness, even though there is tabletop as well. As you can see, it's difficult to talk. So now I see that my tabletop is actually still much lighter, so I'm doing a little bit of lightening on this side. It might not be as bad on this side, but actually I can make it a little bit low maybe. So I'm adding more white and yellow ochre. I'm squinting and I can see that my background is actually much darker than my tabletop. That's very brown, so I'm going to mix some blue in it, especially closer to the glass. So I just saw that darkness, much darker value, so that's why I'm changing it now a little. So my first impression wasn't 100% right, because I think I didn't squint. I wanted to paint the flowers very fast. So I'm doing this correction now. It's never too late. Probably will do tabletop with this brush as well. So mixing more white and yellow ochre, and I can see that now it looks more, I think, correct in terms of value. And I'll do the same thing on here, so that shadow, the same kind of color. So I'm just going to smudge this in, and then I'll do the shadow again. So that's my background, slightly revised. And then my tabletop kind of goes here as well. I can see a little peekaboo of tabletop. Hope it's correct. Sometimes I don't do tabletop very precise. Probably should use a ruler. And I'm going to put this little highlight here. I have the same one in the glass going through here, and I have a little one going here. So I'm using a mixture of white and cadmium yellow light in that mixture, and then I'm correcting my shadow a little bit here. And a little bit of light on tabletop as well. So now back to my glass. I think that coolness can be more emphasized here. That coolness on this side especially. And I don't see really clear highlight in this glass, but there is kind of something like this here. So I'm just going to smudge it a little, because in the glass it's not as clear as in the outside of the glass. So maybe I'll do a little highlight here. Let me see. So I'm just adding tiny bit of blue in the highlight that I can see on the ridge of the glass. Also see some light passing through here. Something at the bottom, too much. So even when the bottom of the glass is dark, still can see some little lights passing through. So I'm using white and yellow ochre for this mixture of tabletop. And again, it's all depends on the ratio, like can be lots of it and will be completely different color. If you use lots of white, could be completely different color, and if you use lots of yellow ochre, it could be a completely different color. So it all depends on the ratio of that color. And I'm trying to see like if there is any light here as well on the glass. Not to lose my green in the glass as well, so I have to go back again, kind of re-emphasize it there. There's a little bit of green there. Just trying to see what else I see on the glass. Maybe I have to come closer because it's very far from me. So far that I don't see the actual glass. But it's good practice, because this way I don't focus on details. So I think if you want to practice that, you can try and see if it works for you. Sometimes my glass also goes a little bit sideways, so I always have to watch. I can see some yellow as well, so I may add a bit of yellow from that color inside. And I think I may add a little bit of darkness here. I think it's almost done. The actual glass is almost done, and I think the whole still life is almost done as well. Just trying to see, there are some reflections of yellow here, and there are some nice white stems that I again lost. That happens. So I don't have too many stems actually in this glass. So then the only other thing I'm going to try is to add some a little bit different something here, a little bit of alizarin and a little bit of white, just to see if it adds a little bit of highlight on here. Not really highlight, but variation of color. Again, the problem is that if I add one thing I might lose the other one, so I really don't want to compromise on what I already have, so I might have to just leave it as it is. And sometimes fingers work best. I think this still life might be done. Maybe I'll look later at the glass because I'll have second look, I think, and do a little bit of, maybe just tiny bit of adjustment. Definitely will not be able to do anything about flowers because flowers are going to die very soon. But this glass is kind of bothering me a little, but not too much. I can live with it. Maybe I'll try to do a little bit darker, but I don't know. We'll see. So I'll post a photo of it as well, and then you see which one, what I meant on the glass and flowers. Hopefully flowers will be the same. The photo might differ a little bit because it may change in terms of flowers, but I hope it will be very close. You see, Fort is a little different. That's because they're moving so fast in space. These flowers, as I paint them, they're kind of bending and dying. Anyway, finally I found something that I could paint from the garden, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you next time, hopefully with more flowers. And if you have your flowers in the garden, you can try those too. So thank you for watching, and have happy painting to everyone.